Just when you thought the Great Reset was done, just when you thought everything was getting better, today we're just going to talk about it. Larry Fink, BlackRock, he just became the leader of the WEF, the World Economic Forum. What does this mean? Remember, we just put him over our transportation, Panama Canal. He's over almost every government pension plan in America. He has board affiliation with every Fortune 500 company. Him and his biggest players are over about 84% of the stock market. You believe he doesn't have power and the World Economic Forum will not have power now? We're going to discuss that today because we're going to see in Dubai how they're already using facial recognition instead of using cash or card or even phone. It's all right here. It's happening. Also, we're going to look at Dearborn, Michigan, how this is not in the Middle East. This is happening in Michigan. And why this is important, because the more that we see this, the more we see forms of control. We're also going to talk about, again, farming, how they want to get rid of farming because this guy will be over it. Do not believe we're out of the woods yet. There's danger ahead. We're going to discuss it today because the reason we talk about this is not about fear. It's all about learning, gaining wisdom, and seeking guidance. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here. Let's jump into the stories. First, let's talk about the World Economic Forum, how important it is in our life. Now, we thought this was kind of over. We thought there was no more this reset talk. There's no more this cashless society. There's no more pushing this because America was going to be great. We're going to help the world see the importance of it again. I'm sorry, guys. It's happening. Why do I say that? Larry Fink, let's just kind of go over who Larry Fink is, and then we will go to some of the other thing. BlackRock's Larry Fink, the man who controls over $12.5 trillion of the world's wealth. He is also unelected. He's never been held accountable. His words are, we can make most boards and most big companies do what we want because we can put pressure on them. Did you know that he's over, and his cohorts are over about 80-something% of all trades and all stock market businesses? Did you know that he is over almost all pension plans for all 50 states? Did you know he is involved in all equity plans and target plans for your retirements? Did you know that he now is over the Panama Canal because we just gave him control, so that puts him over trade? Did you know he was purchasing more fleets of ships and more control over the movement of goods? Did you know even though when he was pushing climate agendas, he actually is still the biggest holder, his company, and also oil production too? It shows his power is far-reaching, far-reaching. If we think that it's all over and that the wealth was gone and that this global push was not going to happen, think again. By putting Larry Fink, not only just a European company, European, Swiss, kind of over there, we thought that's what the WEF was. Larry Fink is an American guy. Larry Fink is over the American institutions. Has heavy ties. I mean, honestly, has heavy ties to both parties. Funds a ton of them. And again, remember, we wanted American control of the Panama Canal. Who did we give it to? Larry Fink. It's unbelievable. Prime example, listen to this. Bill Gates invested the startup Savor. You know, remember, this was the butter, the carbon butter that we were talking about that actually is made of CO2 because they're wanting to get you away from the farm. Listen to this. They also want to produce milk, ice cream, and cheese products with topical oils and tropical oils. So there is no version of farming that we actually need. This is from Australia. Nearly 4,000 acres of Australian farmland has now been buried and taking over so they can put 1 million solar panels in. Apparently expensive, unreliable solar power is more important than what? Growing food. Well, we won't need to grow food with the farmer because that's sustainability. We won't need that because now we have all this new way of growing food, and that is more important. I don't think we realize the dangers of this. This is also for Bill Gates. Again, thinking about how they're wanting to change our food. I want you to listen to this video, and I'm going to play it on the screen.
There will be another pandemic. And although some of the lessons from this pandemic, have been learned, way less than I would expect. Sadly, the division on did we do too much, did we do too little, are vaccines good, The country that the world expected to lead and be the model fell short of those expectations. And so it's meant getting our thoughts together about what did we do well, what we didn't do well is still not happening.
How about you? But to me, that kind of makes me think, well, that means there's always a plan. There's always a plan. Now, Bill Gates is the same person who wants agendas and clean environments. However, is the same person that's telling you to take down your trees. Trees do nothing for the atmosphere and environment anymore. That's not what quote-unquote green energy is. Green energy is taking away from the farm, taking away from crops, taking away from trees, and growing in petri dishes and through carbon emissions, developing your own butter. Now, milk is next, and cream and cheese products. Now, here's the thing. Why is this important? Because that's destroying the farm and food. That's the independence. Now, I want to look at a few things here too. Now, we talked about that. Now, why do I believe these two things have something in common? I want you to listen to this guy right here. All of them have one thing in common: control. Because the more they make panic, the more they make problems, the more real it gets. Now, this is not overseas. This is in Michigan. I want you to watch this. That says 40,000 filled the streets in Detroit area and Dearborn, Michigan. Here's another video of it. All those were in the name of Allah. How they're wanting to claim Allah, claim America for themselves. Approximately 85% of all world refugees are Muslims, but they don't seek asylum in 56 Muslim countries. They only seek asylum in non-Muslim countries. Here's one. I want you to listen to this cleric. This is a cleric from Michigan. He says, "This American empire must fall. People are willing to fight and put their lives on the line to bring the Western empires down." Now, Colby, why does that have anything to do with World Economic Forum? They're not trying to push Muslims. They're not trying to push this religion. No. What they're wanting to push is problems. What they're wanting to push is civil unrest. What they're wanting to push is control by the government. If they take your food, they cause civil unrest on the streets, they cause non-assimilant situations all across Europe and now in America. What does that make happen? What's happening in Washington, D.C. right now? Trump had to federalize it to take over D.C. Now, we say that's no problem because D.C. doesn't have a state. There's no way to actually control it. People are happy about that live there. Now, the sad thing is, you have people now complaining that Trump should not step into D.C., which D.C. is no capital. D.C. is the federal capital. So this is not talking about New York City or Dearborn, Michigan, or anywhere else. It's talking about D.C. And now you have people saying that they would rather have civil unrest than Trump's hand over D.C. What happens if all of a sudden we see more of this situation in Dearborn, Michigan? What if we see this happening more across different cities in America? What if we see this more? Are we worried about it? Are we worried about the drug problems that's happening in the cities? No, but what we're going to do is see civil unrest. What happens when civil unrest takes place? What happens when people go crazy? What happens when almost there's no city control anymore? There is no Batman. Remember, this isn't Gotham. Batman's not going to come down. Robin's not going to come down and save the city. What happens? More government reach and overstep and enforcement. So now you see the control of food. Now you're hearing that Mr. Gates is saying that he is going to have another pandemic that's coming. And now you're seeing unrest in the streets. Think about what we're hoping to see with Trump with peace with Russia, Ukraine. Think about the fact that the border is closed and how we're not seeing a lot of people come over. However, just like yesterday's video, we're still flying people in. Just like we talked the last few days, Congress is still not passing Trump's agendas to actually cut the budget, to actually help make America first again. So we talk about these things, but it's just talk. No arrest has been done. So the criminality and the way that this global push has been done and how they tried to stop Trump from becoming president, those people are still not being arrested and still not being tried. So the problem is the whole setup is wrong. And now we just put the man who's over all our money in America, literally, go and look all the institutions from baby food down to the hospices and funeral homes and the hospitals and all the medicines and all the gas and all the solar and all the batteries. BlackRock has a part in it. Now, the reason I want to bring that up is because I don't think we understand the danger of people like Bill Gates, the bigger danger of people like BlackRock and Larry Fink. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first time. Remember, he's always served on the board, but this is the absolute first time that someone in America has now taken the power over a global entity that wants to see globalization, not America first. You're taking the biggest money man in America that's over more hedge, more equities, more money, and now you're putting him over a global head. Do you think that could be bad? Yuval Harari said, "We hope to make a hopeless, cashless, worthless society. The ones that need our help. If we build an unrest, we build no farms, we build a time where people can't afford anything, a drug-infested, video-infested, AI-infested world, then we control them." Think about that now. The unrest in the streets, the no chance of raising your own food, the fact that now we're so encapsulated with AI and computers that we're literally not even having children anymore or even getting married anymore because we're not seeing the importance of it. What does that make us do? We become just lethargic, lazy beings. Have you seen the city? I want you to go look at the cities and what fentanyl is doing to the cities. Go look at Philadelphia. Go look at Baltimore. You see these people like laid over. They call it the fentanyl lean. You know, the fentanyl crouch. And it's just like people leaned over looking like zombies. What happens? It's control. Every bit of the things that we just talked about is control. What you don't realize when you're giving to your retirement plan, Larry Fink's over it. When you are paying into the government pensions, Larry Fink's over it. When you're buying for care at a hospital, hospice, or funeral home, most of the time Larry Fink's over it if it's publicly owned. The diapers that you're buying, the food that you're buying, the baby food that you're buying, BlackRock's over it. Now he's over the globe for World Economic Forum. We are just in the very early stages of danger. We thought we were done with all this. 2030 is actually coming quicker than you think. Listen to what Bill Gates said. He said, "I know there will be another pandemic." Does that not make you fear a little bit? Not fear because of what the pandemic will be, but the fear that that's how much they want control. That's how much they see the control. It's pure evil. I think this is why most of the biggest players and the Democrats wanted to see Elon and Trump not get along. Because they knew they were two powerful people that had two social media platforms who had two versions of control with the richest man and also the most powerful man. Them working together could be a very big detriment for the biggest players in the world. Well, if they can literally control and destroy Elon Musk and Donald Trump through blackmail or through causing problems or causing rifts, Elon, through surveys for the globe, is actually one of the most unpopular people now. Now, this is the same man. I want you to listen to this. Now, you know what Bill Gates is doing. You know what Larry Fink's doing. You know what Jeff Bezos is doing. You know what some of them are doing. But listen to what Elon Musk just said. Now, I'm not saying that I condone Elon Musk and what he's doing, but listen to his words. He just said last week. They asked, "What would be your legacy when you're gone?" He said that I was useful in the furtherance of civilization, that I helped move civilization forward, that I added to stores of knowledge and capability, that I helped people understand the universe, that people would understand the value of having children. That's what I want. And that's a whole lot different than Bill Gates, Larry Fink, and Jeff Bezos buying up all the land and selling you carbon-based butter and salmon and chicken and telling you there will be another pandemic. And that basically there's ties to this file and list situation. One of the biggest players is Gates. You know, you don't hear that because you hear Clinton and Trump and all that, but bottom line is Gates. This is the dangers. Because if they can control the president and also the richest man in the world and cause a rift and problems between them, I mean, look at Congress. Do you know all the lobbying, all the money behind them? Who does that? Well, it's funneled through businesses, but it's BlackRock. You know how ESG started a long time ago? BlackRock. You know who's funding the educational sectors and have the most in their pensions tied together? BlackRock. Do your research. You don't have to take my word for it. If you go in the grocery store, go down any aisle aisle in the grocery store. You look on the back, you find out who owns them. It'll tell you who owns those brands, if it's Colgate, or if it's Clorox, or if it's bleach, or if it's diapers, or it's food. I want you to go and type into your search engine. You could use AI, or you could just type in the search engine and say, who is the biggest institutional business that holds the most stock and shares into this business? I promise you, 9 out of 10 times, 90% of everything that you do that with, the biggest player behind them, BlackRock. It's crazy, isn't it? And now we just gave him the keys to global a coalition that's over the richest people in America and in the world. And we said they don't have power. They have more power than they've ever had. And we just gave them the keys to the Panama Canal, which is over all trade. You know, the train stations, you know, the transportations. Go look who owns it. It's unbelievable that we're allowing this to happen. So here's my goal for you. Here's my push. You've got to be independent. You've got to get out of debt. And you cannot allow your retirements and all your money to be invested with the government and the pensions and the retirement plans, because every one of those are still tied to the same person I just said. I want you to look at this last video. And I could not, these videos I had to use on my phone because I could not download them because they don't want this stuff spread. I want you to listen. This was off of TikTok. And the reason I wanted to show you this is this is in a foreign country, in Dubai. This shows the dangers of what we're going to see very, very soon. Because if all of a sudden they control all the money, all the pensions, all the globe, when it comes to all this, the banking, all that, it's BlackRock tide, Larry Fink tide, which now is over the World Economic Forum. Look at this push in Dubai right now. I want you to watch this.
In Dubai, you don't need cash or card. You pay with your face. Let's grab a drink. Let's pay.
So, biometrics. The one thing they said that we were not going to do is have biometrics like our fingerprints and our eyes and our face paying for goods. It's already happening. Let's go over the list again. Control the food. You take the farm away. You take the natural environment, green away, like the trees and the cows. Get rid of all that and let's put solar panels. It's not about energy. That's what you don't realize. It has nothing to do with quote unquote energy or the grid or green. It has to do with taking away from the farmer. Secondly, we're starting to make the food in petri dishes now and through emissions. So it's going to save the environment. So this is what you're going to start using. All of a sudden restaurants start getting into this. They control the food. They control the civil unrest on the streets. The more unrest that happens between religions or within people or with anarchists or with liberals and Dems and conservatives, the more unrest and the more non-assimilated ways that most countries face, guess what happens? More authority, more enforcement, more regulation comes on. I.e., look at the declaration in the federalized version of D.C. That's going to happen everywhere. It don't matter if it's Republican or Democrat, that's going to happen everywhere. They control now the unrest. They need more enforcement to control the unrest. Then we see things like biometrics, how you don't need money. Well, if they're over every pension, every government holding, they're over all the money. Did you know that when 2008, 2009 happened, and 2020, so when the pandemic happened and also when we had the housing financial crisis, did you know who the Fed turned to get them out of it? Who did they get the answers to fix the problem? Larry Fink and the World Economic Forum. Who just gave all of transportation and the biggest canal and the biggest route of transportation and mode of ways to get from part A to part B in the Western and Eastern Hemisphere? The Panama Canal. Our government just gave it away to Larry Fink. They're over everything. Your supermarkets, everything you buy. So if all of a sudden they say, you're going to believe this, you're going to believe this. Larry Fink says this a few years back. He said, we will force people to change their behaviors. You know how? Because he controls it all. He controls it all. You know, and then you're like, oh, these people are like, well, what about Bitcoin? I mean, we're safe. We have a parallel. Who's the biggest holder of the new ETFs in Bitcoin? Who actually got it really marketable to take over crypto? The biggest banks. Who's behind the biggest banks and who's behind the biggest ETFs of Bitcoin? buying it on the stock exchanges and actually has grown the biggest position in Bitcoin in the last 5 years? BlackRock. Told you. If you look at the books, they actually quote unquote own nothing. But they have so much shares of every one of them, they control every board of every big player in the market, including the parallel money. So if they say, this is what you're going to do, unless you're being a regenerative farmer, homesteader, growing your own food, prepper, trying to live below your means out of debt, trying to be sufficient, trying to build a legacy at your home, if you're not trying to do any of that and you're not trying to take care of yourself, then you will be like everyone else, falling right in line with the rest of the sheep. Because now you just put the most powerful man in America, and they said this. They said, actually, Larry Fink is probably the most powerful man in America, not Trump, because of the power he holds, even down to the fact of the Fed. And remember, who gave him control of the Panama Canal? Sorry to say, it's Donald Trump's administration. So this man is the most powerful man in America when it comes to our money and power, and now you just gave it to him through the globe. Who's one of his best buddies? Bill Gates. Can't make this stuff up, guys. Let me know your thoughts on all this. I think the non-assimilated civil unrest we're going to see in our towns is playing right in the hands of the Great Reset. Let me know your thoughts. God bless.